listening to Somos Hollywood, a podcast where Latinos in film and TV talk about their recent projects and the ongoing fight for more inclusion in the industry. I mean, we're already here, and we're not going anywhere. So yeah, apúrense. We are ready. We are talented. We are Hollywood. Somos Hollywood.
Hey, we're really excited about the 30th anniversary and you coming down here to celebrate it with us.
Yeah, I'm super excited about
Yeah,
that.
definitely. Since Desperado was your first major Hollywood film, what was the biggest mental or creative shift that you had to make moving from El Mariachi, which was famously, known for its low budget and DIY aspect, to, a larger production?
The main thing was finally I can try and show what I think I can do
Yeah.
because I didn't even want him to put Mariachi out. It was a test film. I was just to see if I could even make a full movie. I had done a bunch of short films
Right.
that were starting to win film festivals, and I thought, man, this isn't going to do me any good. If someone sees my award-winning film, they're going to hire me not to make a short film. They're going to hire me to make a feature. And I've been spending past 10 years learning short films, which is useless. So I scrambled to go make a movie for the Spanish home video action market, a very specific place. Because when you go to HEB, you'd see the little video homes that were there being rented. And I said, I saw the address on the back. I said, oh, all the distributors are in LA. I know we can make one of these better than these are shot on video, man. They're shit. Let's go make one for film as practice. I'll do all the jobs myself. So when they liked it, and they showed it to an audience and they liked it and were taking it to festivals, and then I won Sundance. That was kind of like having a big movie without having a big movie.
Right.
So I was like, man, I can't wait to get any money to do a sequel so that I can show that I would have done better than that. In fact, I even had asked them, man, give me $2,000. I'll go reshoot half of it if I knew people were going to see it. I didn't know it was going to get seen. It was made not to be seen on purpose. I mean, if you were going to go to the video home section there at HEB and rent an action movie, you wouldn't rent an action movie called The Guitar Player. That doesn't promise any action. So I wanted it to be kind of hidden. And instead, the opposite happened. So Desperado was all guns blazing. I said, let me go make it. Even though I only had 30 days to shoot it, I was shooting like a madman to make it look like we had the schedule of a Hong Kong action film or a Hollywood action film. So I remember the shift being, now this is really my first film, and I got to show them really what I can do with this thing. And so it was designed that way.
Was there a specific moment during production of Desperado when you realized that you were no longer this, quote unquote, scrappy $7,000 filmmaker, but like a real director in Hollywood and in that spotlight?
Never. I was always scrappy the whole time. And there's nothing but one scrappy solution over another because I'm still trying to make a much bigger movie than I had money for. So I had to learn my own Steadicam to operate Steadicam to make it look like I could afford a Steadicam. So I'm operating the Steadicam. I'm doing all the camera movements. I'm picking actors. I was in local Acuña across from Del Rio. You imagine there's no local actors there. For the local actors, all the smaller roles, I was picking people for my crew. Every crew member's in that movie. Anyone who had an interesting face, they got put in, So I was just trying to make it look big. And I never felt like a real director. I still felt like I was making El Mariachi, only El Mariachi 2. The Mariachi I would have wanted people to see. So I don't think I'd ever, at any point, have I felt like now I'm a professional director, Hollywood style. I've always had my own style I created, and I kept making movies out of Texas and making them my own way. I was just doing things that nobody ever does.
Right.
I still do those jobs.
So having more resources on Desperado, did it ever feel like a creative burden to you rather than a gift or?
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, we used a mostly Mexican crew, so we got so much done. They were so on it, it was very different than Hollywood production. And it didn't feel like a burden. It felt more like I was still taking the money I had and making it look 10 times more. That was always what my trick has been over time. And it really taught me, wow, this looks like a huge movie. I'm going to make all my movies for less so that they allow me more freedom. Because the reason I kept it low was so that they would let me hire Mexican actors, Mexican actors, and make it feel more authentic. Because otherwise, if it cost more money, they would have said, well, that's not a sure enough thing and we need our money back.
Right.
We need to make sure people will go see this movie. We need to make it an all, Anglo cast or something, because they weren't hiring back then Latinos in anything, So I had to make it really give me less, and I can do more with that. That was always the attitude, and
So I know,
stayed my attitude through my career. That's why I'm
yeah,
still here. That's why I'm still here.
I know Carlos Gallardo, he had a small role, if I'm not mistaken, in
Yeah.
Desperado. Did he already assume that he wouldn't be reprising his role as El Mariachi, and was that a tough conversation to have?
Oh no, we knew that we're going to make a big movie out of it. Originally, he knew to be the co-producer, and I'd have to cast it up if we wanted a bigger budget. And so, as a producer, he's also the producer of Mariachi. He knew that was the best move. We could have gone and made two more of the little mariachis, but this was our opportunity to make something not just a bigger movie, but one that in its DNA is Latino based. So it's like that's a very rare to have. It's always like pulling teeth to get something like that done. New that they say, is a new movie because it became a franchise. And you know what? Here's an interesting fact. There's very few franchises or movies or comic books or TV shows that were popular enough to make into a movie or TV show that were created by Latin. If you go back in time, what do you think the oldest one is? This is probably Zorro, right? But that wasn't created by a Latino. It was a guy who made a bunch of different characters and he put those two together, Robin Hood plus Joaquin Murrieta. If you were to go back in time to remake something that was created by a Latino, that had Latino DNA, you know what that is? I'd have to remake Desperado. There's literally nothing before that. So that's why how important that movie was. There's been nothing before that and nothing since.
If you were to if you were to cast that movie again in 2025, would you cast a Latino instead of Antonio, who's Spanish? And I'm not sure that would even have been a discussion back in the 90s, but today it is. Like, it would be like,
Yeah, I mean, there was no, he was the closest we had to a Mexican that was known. That's how few roles there were.
right,
I
right.
mean, like I could say his name in Hollywood, and even though he had never made a Hollywood movie, he had been only famously in Almodovar movies in Spain.
Right.
But if I were to name Mexican actors of the time, they would be like, no, I don't know who that person is. No, they never would give them an opportunity. And they hadn't even given him an opportunity. But I'd say, remember, that guy, Antonio, but oh yeah, we've heard of him. He's been in the festival. Okay, I'm going to cast that guy. They went, oh, okay, we know him. Okay, go ahead. You can do that.
Right. I was trying to
So,
think of somebody back then that's about the same age, and all I could think of was like Andy Garcia, maybe, but you know.
I approached Andy to be the villain in it.
Oh, okay.
But originally it was Raul Julia. Raul Julia was going to be the villain, but then he died right during production.
Wow. That's crazy.
But like I could tell that was by Danny Trejo. That's why I'm bringing Danny Trejo to honor him because no one in Acuña knew who Antonio Banderas was. They saw Salma, they knew who she was. They saw Antonio, but they
Right.
saw Danny Trejo in costume on the set, and they thought for sure he was the star of the film. People would just go, "Whoa."
That's
And
awesome.
I went, man, this guy's got something. I tell him, man, I'm going to keep putting you in stuff till your name's big enough. Sure enough, like 15 years later, he's the star of Machete with Robert De Niro as his co-star, so it took time to build that up. So that's what we're celebrating also.
Yeah,
This
definitely.
Friday is our own creating of Latin images and actors and giving them opportunities and then turning them into our own stars for our own movies,
Right. How does it
which
feel
is
knowing that?
huge.
How does it feel knowing you gave Salma her first big break in Hollywood, and what do you remember most vividly about her audition or the early days on the set?
Oh, I'm going to be doing a concert. I don't know if you're going, but the
Oh
concert
yeah.
I'm showing is going to be really cool. We're playing songs from the movies, and you'll be able to see the movie behind us playing as we
Right.
play. And not only that, you'll see some of the behind the scenes footage from my own cameras that no one has ever seen of them behind the scenes together. And you'll see what an incredible time it was. That you could just aim the camera at them and they would create magic. I made a whole other movie with her called Road Racers after Mariachi before to show this Hollywood people what she could do in English because she had only done, like telenovelas and stuff.
Right.
to let me, and they still didn't, weren't like, wow, we still don't know who this is. So I started to do a screen test with her and other actresses. And I remember rehearsing her screen test over and over with her before we filmed her with Antonio the night before. So she'd come in, she would just nail it with him. And they went, oh, wow, okay, she's great. You can have her. And she just rocked. She's just so full of life and energy and represented us in such a great way. I really kind of just, I discovered her and gave her big shots over and over again. You have to do it again and again until it gets embedded in them that this is a star they can now use in other movies. So they really delivered. They knew this was the opportunity. And her and Antonio together were just so explosive. The studio didn't know what they were looking at. They had never seen anything like this before. This Latin fire and energy, it's like from another planet. If you saw it at that time, but even today, you go, can't believe this ever came out of Hollywood. It's just so rare. That's what's exciting about it and worth celebrating.
Do you think that's the biggest contribution to Hollywood at that time, and to the action cinema that was coming out in the 1990s?
Oh, absolutely. It was a new flavor of action film, but also showed that we could create our own stars. That we weren't going to wait for Hollywood to come around to being woke, which would take another 20 years. It would be like, let's do it now. We're doing it now ourselves. And I carried that on to Spy Kids, Dust Till Dawn,
Right.
all my movies. I just kept doing that because that gave me a lot of power to be able to do that. And what lacks a lot of time, precedent. I give you the precedent that I've done that before. You have to let me do that again. And it was successful. You have to let me do that again.
I'll make this my last question, Robert, but the Mariachi trilogy, it spans over, different stages of your life as a filmmaker. What does Desperado specifically represent to you personally within that trilogy?
Desperado was very odd. I didn't expect Mariachi to win Sundance. Originally, we were just going to remake Mariachi. So I had to scramble and go, well, now it won Sundance. We can't just remake it. We have to do sort of a remake sequel kind of thing where you don't really have to watch the first one, and it's not really a direct sequel. But so I was kind of creating a new franchise in a weird way, and which is bizarre. That was my original vision, was to make 3 of these for the Spanish home video market.
Right.
But now I was making them. Each one was getting, the next one has Johnny Depp and all this huge cast. I just had to roll. You just had to roll with it and go, how can I make this as entertaining possible with all the iconography that I grew up with in San Antonio and love, the guitar, the mariachi, the idea that could be an action hero, the music, the flavor, the humor, and then, the action. So to me, that one was just the real beginning. Mariachi started the fire, but then that was really the flames that so many of the things that I ended up doing later came from that movie. Putting Cheech in every movie, putting Danny Trejo in every movie, just to keep our presence alive. It really kind of sets the template for all the other movies after that. Gadgets that would become part of all my movies, even the Spy Kids series, guitar cases that shoot, missiles and fun things like that are really entertaining, for audiences and make the movies really unique. Came from Desperado.
Hey, Robert, man. Well, thank you so much. It's always great to talk to you, and congratulations
man.
on this 30th anniversary. And we're really looking forward to you coming down and partying with you, man. And your band's gonna be playing too, right? Of course. So
It's going to be amazing. We're going to show the movie. Then Danny Trejo will be there to go
Right.
Q&A with me. I got a blowout surprise for him that everyone's going to love. That's going to start a new tradition at the Aztec every year. I can't say what it is yet, but when you see it, you'll go, oh, wow, that would have been enough to draw people here. And then my band will play for the rest of the time, so that they can see the music played live to imagery and behind the scenes stuff they've never seen. And it's just an explosive, fast paced show. So it's going to be fantastic. And at the Aztec,
you're not bringing out that torso guitar. You don't have that anymore.
oh yeah, hey, we might. We're playing songs from Dust Till Dawn. I know Danny Trejo will introduce the song like he did in the movie. Lowly dogs, bow your heads. He'll do that.
Hey, Robert, thanks a lot, man. Have a good rest of your day, okay?
Thanks, you
Talk
too.
soon. Bye.
Bye.